Hello and welcome to Volt Vehicles. I want to talk to you guys why I love electric bikes, why I really fell in love with these types of modified bicycles over the last year, and why I think that in general, micromobility that is powered by electricity is such a cool mode of transport, and how I see it could be a future of transportation for many people. So here we are in the city of Malmö. This is the city I live in, and this is a park called Pildammsparken. This is in Sweden. And in this part of Sweden, so we're in southern Sweden, it is very flat, very, very flat. So that this is like, you could say, the bicycle haven. Malmö is known for having a lot of bicycles. It's a very bike-friendly town. It's very flat, so you don't have to, work your way up hills, really feel like you're going to go to war every time you're going out on your bike. It's a pretty bike-friendly town. And it's been a way since I was little, just getting around to work, to school. Biking has been a big part of my mode of transport. However, the thing is, biking is nice as an exercise because you get a little bit of exercise. It's also nice to get some fresh air. It's also a pretty quick way to get around in town because many times when you're going around in the town, and you're then wanting to take a bus. Many times the bus is just going to go to 10 different places before it finally gets to the destination, taking a really big detour. When you go in a bike, you can just directly go to the destination. I think it's so efficient in terms of getting to a destination quickly. The downside I have had all the time to biking is that it can be quite tedious at times. It's not always tedious. This is city I live in is a pretty flat city, so it is easier than it is in other places to bike. But the thing is, it is a bit tedious, and there's always a bit of effort needed to get it done. And it's very uncommon for me to not end up at the destination sweaty, even though I would say I'm a decently fit young guy and not overweight or anything. But it's hard to turn up not sweaty to your destination. No, I don't mind. I do a lot of exercising and strength training, so it's a common routine of mine. But the thing is, say you're going to go to a job interview, or say you're going to go to some job where you have to present yourself professionally. It's not always the nicest feeling getting into your job being sweaty. So that's where I love micromobility and how electric bikes and electric scooters and electric vehicle forms are so useful, because they sort of make it so that you can go to these different places without having to turn up sweaty. And actually, you even get to these places quicker than you would on a normal bicycle, or at least how it would be for me. Because normally, I would say in the city, it depends a little bit where I'm biking, because I sometimes bike in the countryside, sometimes in the city. But I would say when I'm in the city, I usually bike at a pace of maybe, I don't know, 16 kilometers an hour, something like that, because I often have to stop a lot. I don't want to go too fast. You've got cars all over the place. You're going to possibly get run over if you go too fast. I have actually once been, I have been run over by a car, not run over, but like bumped into by a car because I was going too fast across one of these bike paths, and then a car looked like it was going to stop, and I just got bumped. But I would say I go about 16 kilometers an hour, 70 kilometers an hour. It varies a bit in the city. And then when I come to these long, big roads here, like these bike paths, I would go a little bit faster. I would go maybe max 20 kilometers an hour until I feel like, oh, this is getting tough. So I'll probably be at a max of 20 kilometers an hour. When you're using an electric bike, however, you can then get to 25 kilometers an hour. So you're able to go in these long routes with an electric bike a lot quicker than you otherwise would be, or at least if you have got my level of biking skill. So you'll be going a lot quicker. But the thing is, it's not only biking level of skill, because the thing is, electric bikes, they give you power until a certain amount of speed, depending on the laws. In Sweden, the electric bike laws state that you're able to get electricity powering your steps until 25 kilometers an hour. After 25 kilometers an hour, the bike motor shuts off, and there's just pure manpower there after that. So what this means is, say you're someone who wants to become one with speed. You want to become one with speed. Well, you can still become one with speed even though the motor shuts off at 25 kilometers an hour. What you can use is you can have the motor help you get you to 25 kilometers an hour, and then just keep on pressing to get to 30. That's something that I love to do. I think it's really great because you can actually get really fast speeds going in electric bikes. People who are professional race bikes, people using these race bikes, these road bikes, they can easily get 30 kilometers an hour. I see them going super fast and overtaking me. I like to be able to use a bike, have it being comfortable, not like one of these guys, having to be hunched over like this with a bit of like spandex, being as aerodynamic as possible. I like to have a bit more comfortable ride, such as this. I prefer to ride a bike, something like this, something that would be a bit more in an upright position, a bit more comfortable style of riding, and then being able to wear normal clothes, not having to be focusing on being as aerodynamic as possible, because the motor will anyway help you out get to that speed, and you can always press more if you feel like it. That's what, in my opinion, it's a more comfortable way of riding, but also a more efficient way of riding when it comes to using, normal clothes and getting away with just not having to focus on being as aerodynamic as possible, getting to your destinations, not being sweaty. I think it's really great for this reason. And then just in general, I think electric bikes are really great. Just even if you want to do some exercise, because it's not like when you go up to 25 kilometers an hour, you just go without moving yourself. You're still doing something. It depends, because in certain countries you can use a throttle to just press a button and then it makes your electric bike just keep going in terms of your speed. But even then, when you're on a bike, as long as you're on a bike, you have to think about this. It's not like you're being lazy. You're still getting fresh air. You're still having to move yourself a bit. You're still having to keep your balance. I would still say it's more beneficial for your body than perhaps going on the bus. And speaking of buses, I think that when you've got a piece of vehicle or piece of equipment that can get you to places very quickly, then you're going to put less strain on buses. You're going to have less filled up buses, but you're also going to potentially, some people, not everyone, but some people maybe take short journeys in cars. You would also make the traffic problems. Many cities, they're just clogged up with traffic. But if more people are on like smaller vehicles that don't take as much space, like for example electric bikes, but also perhaps electric scooters as well, then it could be a way to reduce the clog in terms of traffic. So you're getting to places that you're on your own terms. You're not having to think about traffic and that kind of stuff, and you're able to get to places while still getting a bit of fresh air as well at the same time. But then comes one of the massive benefits as well of electric vehicles, electric bikes, electric scooters, is that they're driven by electricity. Electricity is super cheap. And the vehicles themselves, they're pretty cheap. They're cheaper than many cars. Though many electric bikes, in my opinion, they're very overpriced. You can get them for like $3,000+ or €3,000+. I think that's really crazy expensive. But you can get many scooters, many electric bikes that are cheaper for a lot less, maybe $1,000, €1,000. So then you're going to have something on that very cheap. They can get you around a decent speed whilst at the same time getting some fresh air. I think it's really cool. You can see here, I was going around here near the library rows we've got, and you can just see that there's someone here who's already got an electric bike. I think he built this bike because you can see that it's like got some special kind of motor here that looks, I think it looks like a Bafang motor, the one that type of one you attach on the bikes. But there's a lot of people in the city of Malmo who go on bikes, as you can see, but there's a lot of electric bikers. There's a lot of scooters as well. You can see here, there's a lot of these rental companies who've got scooters because the scooters, they're very convenient. Me personally, I don't like the scooters because I like being able to do some exercise where you're being able to, and plus the electric bikes, they go quicker than scooters. Here in Sweden, the laws are that scooters are max 20 kilometers an hour, electric bikes 25 kilometers an hour. So they are a bit quicker, and I like the idea of a bike. I don't like scooters. To me, scooters don't feel particularly safe. Don't feel as sturdy as a bike. But it's just up to personal preference. I still think scooters are cool. I just prefer the bikes. But my point is, look how popular scooters have become. You see the scooters all over the place that are being rented out. It is a very popular thing. Like when I was a couple of days ago, I was going on a bus because I had to take a big long trip in the middle of the snow. I didn't want to go biking. I've sent away my electric bike back to the manufacturer, so I'm sort of grounded in terms of my electric mobility. But I took the bus. I saw a guy, not a guy, but a kid on the bus. And I saw him. He was carrying his scooter. It wasn't as big as one of these ones. It was probably a lot smaller. I think it was this one right here. It looked like one of these smaller style scooters, a bit lighter ones. And I was just thinking, he was sitting on the bus, and he had that folded up. And he had something like this. A kid, I don't know maybe how old he was, maybe 13, 14 years old. He had this on the bus, and he folded it up. He would put it in between his knees. It looked really practical, because even though I'm not a big advocate of kids using scooters, because I've seen lots of crazy kids going around with these, but apart from that, it just, to me, just felt like, that is actually pretty damn effective. He's got the scooter. He can go on the buses if he's got a long journey, and then he can always just go wherever he feels with the scooter. Like, he's very mobile. You can get to anywhere, wherever you feel like it, and not have to feel like it's like the whole world getting to a place. Not like you have to think too much about it, and you can still just on your own terms go to a longer distance if you can, depending on what kind of scooter you got, what kind of distance you've got. And I think the same thing goes for electric bikes. You can't really use electric bikes in the same portability as a scooter, but you could still get a folding electric bike. It can be very portable in that regard. But I just love how it sort of enables people, these bikes, these scooters, they enable people to be more mobile. They allow them to be more mobile, and it's not like personally more mobile. It's not like being able to just go on the train and to like a fixed point. You can go wherever you want, whenever you want, not having to pay attention to anyone's schedule, and you're able to get to the location whenever you want. So that's why I love electric vehicles. I love electric bikes. I think they're really good ways to get to your destination in a more relaxed fashion, but also enable you to get there quicker, and also enable you to go really fast if you want to. I think they're also cheap alternatives to go using cars, and I also think that they're really amazing in terms of their fuel cost, because electricity costs close to zero. So you're able to get around really cool in your own small little vehicle. It costs little. So you're going in a slightly cheaper vehicle, perhaps, depends on how expensive you go, but you're going in a relatively cheap vehicle with cheap fuel, enabling you to go to any place whenever you want, wherever you want, at your own terms. Also, I think these are great because the city of Malmö here is a very bike-friendly town, as I said before, because it's very flat. But there are also many cities that are very hilly. I'm actually from this the city of Sheffield, and it is actually a pretty hilly city. And electric bikes allow you to get to places without having to feel like you're going to die. You can get up these hills with ease. People say that hills are nothing on an electric bike or an electric vehicle. Depends also a little bit how powerful it is, but they're usually just a breeze. So it really enables places which normally wouldn't be so friendly to bikes and micromobility to suddenly become a lot more friendly, a lot more doable than, say, for example, there would be on a manual bicycle, or make you have an alternative to taking the bus, for example. So that's it. That's why I love electric bikes and electric mobility. I love the fact that you're able to use a bike that is able to get to places quicker, or usually will be quicker than you otherwise would be. I think it's amazing how you're able to get to places and you're able to get there not sweaty. You're able to sort of focus more on a comfortable riding posture and able to just enjoy the ride rather than feeling like it's a proper workout. But you can always decide to work out if you want to, and then on top of that, you're going to get to your destination really quickly. I love how just in general the electric bikes and electric scooters, they allow you to just decide whenever you want to get to your destination at your own terms, with a very cheap fuel cost and very cheap upfront cost at the same time. I think we'll see a lot more developments in this area of vehicle transportation in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.